And we are live. Let's see if everybody gets on. See what's going on in a second. Hmm. Waiting for people to come on in. Hmm. That was weird. Just give me all kinds of problems. Hmm. More people not getting notified tonight, or what? Let's see. We got 4 watching. Hello. Hoping the chat's working, but if you're not, anyways, guys, welcome. Tonight is the Thursday night stream. Do it weekly. Try to cover a couple topics that pop up. Just waiting for more people to filter in. I know it's a little early right this second, but say hi if you want. Got a couple things we're going to cover and talk about what's going to be happening in the coming weeks. Oh, okay, yeah, there everything popped up. Hi, guys. Yeah, Parallax, I see you guys. Hi, Critter. Hi, Artist. Hi, Cat. I was about to say, nobody was in here trying to post before with just the upcoming notice. Hey, Matthew, how you doing? I was wondering where the heck everybody was. So I'll just give it another minute. Hi, John. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, wow. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, Parallax. I think I messed up when I was setting things up. I think I actually did 2 at the same time. Kind of a boomer move, but I fixed it. Hi, Pauline. Hi, Pauline. I'll try that better instead of having the frog in my mouth. All right, well, that's 10. I guess that's a good start. Um, yeah, what time is it there for Matthew? Uh, it's late. I think he said this before. He's I feel fine now. Yeah, like I said earlier, guys, I was not feeling 100%, but um, yeah, I'm doing okay now. So good to go. Like it never even happened. Yeah, he's like 5 hours ahead of us, and I'm in the Eastern time. So yeah, it's like 2:30 there. All right, so we'll get started. Um, A couple cases ended this week. RaDonda Vaught, I know we talked about her before, but I'll just bring it back up. She was the nurse who had given a paralytic agent to a woman going through an MRI and basically paralyzed her. She couldn't breathe and she suffocated. So, I mean, we could start with that one. Hi, Banshee. Hi, 4M. Oh, okay, 4M, we're going to hold on to that 1 second because that's the other, we'll cover that second, but I'm going to come back to that. Okay? In case anybody was not aware, RaDonda Vaught, I think that's how you say her name. RaDonda. She got convicted of criminally negligent homicide and gross neglect of an impaired adult. So, I wasn't surprised when you read about what happened. She really, really screwed up. It wasn't though she just accidentally picked up the wrong drug out of the, and they were all next to each other. Apparently this was in a special drawer. It said, like, be careful, there's dangerous stuff in here. Apparently the thing she pulled out said, hey, this has got dangerous stuff on it. This will kill people. This is a paralytic. It wasn't very good. And also, from what I understand, she had to prepare this and make it, like, that she had to use, here we go. According to an investigation and the report filed in a court case, that Versed is a liquid, but vericonium, which is the paralytic, is a powder. So she had to actually take, like, saline solution and make the drug. And Versed, which is a, what do they call those? Kind of like a muscle relaxer. You just inject it. So if she really was paying attention, I mean, she really, really, really screwed up. And I think at some point, yes, life is full of oopsie poopsie moments, but when you do it this bad, I don't think it's wrong for her to be held accountable for it. I think she probably suffered a little bit because the hospital covered it up for her because they didn't want the blowback. But I think that just caused public outcry to get more and more and more once the public learned about it. So, yeah, I think that hurt her a little bit at the end of the day. So she admitted that she became complacent and that she did not double check things when she had done so and had the opportunity to do it. She got released. She's still out on bond. I don't think she's going to go to prison. She's probably just going to be sentenced, with the felony conviction, and she'll never be able to be a nurse again, which in her case is probably a good idea. But in case you guys weren't aware, she's done. Also, I'm not going to lie, this whole thing with the purple hair, streaks in her hair, I mean, it's a trial. It's a trial where you're supposedly have killed someone. Like, don't do that, guys. If you ever end up on trial for something serious, get your hair colored a natural color. Trial for this is not the time to go make a fashion statement. Oh, wow. Jeez, everybody kind of spilled in all of a sudden. Hi, Charles. Who else is here? So, guys, please like. If you haven't subscribed yet, like apparently somebody may have but may not have, and we're not going to talk about who that is. First name begins with M. Make sure you're subscribed. And I understand if they've never dealt with this and they didn't understand the facts of it, but people freak out about all kinds of things when a law gets passed or somebody gets in trouble or something happens there. So, I mean, that's going to happen no matter what. So, the next one we're going to talk about is Michael Moseley. So, if you happen to be watching it, and apparently I missed it, he got convicted this afternoon. I went back and watched the verdict on my own stream, which, yay for me. He got convicted of all 4 counts, which I think is probably the proper conclusion. Now, the morning started off with an interesting issue that one of the witnesses the state wanted to put on was not available. He had been subpoenaed and he took off. Now, a subpoena is a court order, so you have to show up, and if you defy a court order, well, the court can force you to appear through a warrant. And this goes to what 4M brought up. How aggressively does law enforcement search for material witness with a court warrant? Well, as you heard, the guy who testified this morning was the investigator for the prosecutor's office, or the district attorney, however you want to call it. He's a law enforcement officer, basically their own detective, who solely does work for them. And you heard him talk about it. His job is to serve subpoenas, get in touch with victims, and do some extra work if they need it done. Well, depending on how big the case is, they will send the police out to go hunt this person down. And it sounds like they'd spent all week trying to make sure this guy was going to show up. Now, he wasn't super critical because eventually they said, screw it, we're going to go ahead without him. But there have been cases where, like the Theodore Edgecombe trial, the prosecutor thought the guy wasn't going to show up. They went to the judge, got a warrant, and the police arrested him immediately, and he sat a couple days in jail waiting for the trial to start. I could foresee a situation where a witness or a victim doesn't show up for trial and the prosecutor says, we can't get it done, and the police immediately go out with that the order from the court, this person needs to be brought in, they're defying this court order, drag him into court. I mean, I could see that happening. It just depends on how serious the trial is. Oh. In this case, it was probably just their investigator. They didn't send out like the fugitive task force to look for the guy, because eventually they skipped on and moved on without him. So, yeah, we learned a lot from the survivor of the knife attacks. It sounds like he got stabbed right through the eye and almost into his brain, and it sounds like he almost died. So that wasn't very good. I mean, that was a pretty impressive testimony by that guy. And then, yeah, the defense did not take the stand. I think you have to in a self-defense case. People are going to want to know, why did you do it? What were you thinking? How did you feel? Now, in reality, from watching all the videos, that self-defense claim was kind of bogus. I don't think it was going to work. So yeah, I assume his attorney said you taking the stand is a really bad idea. And I'm assuming Michael probably already thought it was a bad idea to start with. So I don't blame them for not doing it. But if you were legitimately trying to do self-defense, you would have to come in and do it. And yeah, he didn't. Chaps by definition are assless. Otherwise, if your chaps have an ass to them, they're pants. So, I mean, if you show up in, West dressed like a cowboy, that's fine. Now, if you show up dressed like a gay cowboy, like you're talking about like leather chaps, that are all rhinestoned and no pants, you might have a bad day. But otherwise, you could probably wear chaps at trial. Well, okay, we're going back to John. I don't think they probably don't know the full story. All they hear is she made a mistake. And all those nurses see themselves having made a mistake or could see themselves making a mistake. I don't think they understand the depth of the mistake. Because if you brought it up to them and said, well, here's exactly what she did, I bet a lot of them would say, you'd have to be Helen Keller to make that kind of mistake. You can't see at all what you're doing. So I think if they knew about the totality of it, it would probably change things up. Oh, are they going to charge this guy who didn't show up? No, it's done. I mean, the worst you can get charged with, you can't really get charged with a crime. The court could show cause and hold you in contempt and say, for example, let's say it's, you, for example, the court could say, here's a notice, I'm holding you in contempt. Here's a show cause hearing. You need to show up at this date and time to show cause as to why you should not be held in contempt. Generally speaking, though, that usually doesn't happen. I've never heard of it happening, but just because I haven't heard of it happening doesn't mean you want to find out. You don't want to be that one time where I find out, oh wow, the judge really did get pissed off and put you in jail for a little bit. So if you get a court order, you better show up or talk with an attorney about your options, because there might be a way out of it. Like the school board in Pennsylvania. I wouldn't want to defy court orders. Yes, if a court orders a school board to do X, Y, and Z, and they don't do it as a result of court action or an injunction, yes, they could be held in contempt as well. That's a sanction if you defy a court's order. But courts try to restrain from using that power if they can. Especially in a situation like this where you're dealing with another governmental entity. I mean, that's, there might be a separation of powers issue there, but ultimately, as I just stated, for a witness who doesn't show up, you've really got to, you've got to make it your job to get in trouble with the court. Generally, there's a lot of leeway. That doesn't mean you should exercise it and abuse it, but you've got to try to piss off the court to the point where you go sit in jail or face the risk of jail. Does the warrant last forever? No, because the subpoena is really no longer valid. There's no other, because they arrest the guy, they bring him to court, the trial's over. The subpoena is no longer valid. It's expired. If they try to arrest that guy, I would argue the warrant's stale, the warrant's expired, it's no longer valid. I mean, I would argue that's an illegal arrest. It should be taken out of the system. I don't see them trying to run that person down. But now, if the court held that person in contempt, they could summons them, and then if they didn't show up for the contempt hearing, the court could, try to do what it does from there. But no, this subpoena and the warrant surrounding the subpoena, they're done. Yeah, Matthew, so the warrant's done. He could face contempt, but that's not going to happen. I'd bet $1 million that's not going to happen. Mosley seems like a pretty decent guy. He's not a nice guy. If you start one fight and then others join in to attack you, could you be justified in using force, deadly force at that point? Possibly. Remember, this is not legal advice. I'm a schmucky attorney from Ohio. You guys happen to listen to talk. But no, this is not legal advice. I think there would be a valid argument to make that there is now a disparity of force. The force is escalated. Remember, those people that are attacking you, do they have a valid reason to use force? Are you being the big bad? You may have started the fight, but did you have a reason to start the fight? You would have to try to disengage. You would have to try to withdraw from the fray. If you start trying to run down the street and those guys chase you down and attack you and start, kicking the shit out of you, yeah, that would probably be a good excuse. But in this case, yeah, he's not looking good. It doesn't look good for Moseley. And also, you notice, if there had been a situation where he said, look, I quit, I'm out, I'm sorry, guys, look, no, I'm done. There were no witnesses from his side to say that. And all we saw was him getting shoved out of the, all those guys trying to punch him and fight him. He kind of got shoved out of it, and, he fixes his hair, and then he goes back in, and then he, pulls out his knife. That defeats any of the arguments for running away. Obviously, if they had somebody who said he was trying to get away, or he said, please stop, I give up, they would have introduced that, but notice none of the questions ever focused on that. But yes, my answer to you would be, there's a very good argument, but you need to be very, very careful. Once again, if you're already in that spot, you're already having a bad day, and it probably won't get much better. Yeah, never happens. People make rash decisions. Uh, yeah, there's always those issues, but that's being in a gang or people jumping you. I talked about this just like with the Theodore Edgecombe trial, the Curtis Reeves trial. I mean, all these cases. If you're an adult and you go out and you start screwing around with people, yeah, you might think you're getting into a fist fight, and that other guy, his idea of a fight is this, and he's ready to get down. Like, are you ready to handle this? I'm sure each one of those guys he stabbed was not thinking, wow, this dude might pull out a knife and start trying to tickle my spleen with it. But Michael Moseley was prepared to get down. He was prepared to go harder and go farther than they were willing to. So that's the risk. It's not like you're in a boxing ring where, there's some set rules. You're in a street fight. This guy might take it all the way. So, just like Curtis Reeves, Chad Olson, I bet he didn't think that old guy was going to shoot him. Oopsie poopsie. Theodore Edgecombe. Jason Clearman thought he was probably going to go try to tune that dude up. Tune up the guy who punched him and rode off. You know what? Apparently Theodore Edgecombe had no problem shooting him in the face. So, if you're going to be you're going to be an adult, you can't be a grown-ass adult getting into fights. It's just not a good policy. You can really go to prison, or you just get really screwed up, or you might die, or just get blinded. I'm sure none of them thought it was worth. That guy, in hindsight, he's like, geez, I wish we wouldn't have gotten involved and just let him run his mouth, or whatever happened. If he's got that authority, he's got that authority. I'm not sure about the case, but I could see that happening in some circumstances. No, I did not see. We'll get to this in a second. Hey, I'm game if you're game. You really want to take that bet now? Hi, Wesley. Yes, avoidance, de-escalation, deterrence are your best ways to avoid problems. And part of the avoidance is not being at the bar at 3 a.m. Part of it is not getting trashed. Let's be real. Everybody there was probably pretty drunk. None of them would be able to drive a car on either side. I remember being 22 years old, and yeah, I was a lot skinnier. I got into a couple of fights, and yeah, like I remember one of them, and I remember being on the ground and kind of blacking in and blacking out as this dude's on top of me, just boom, boom, like in between the punches, I kind of blacked out. So yeah, thank God I didn't get severely injured, but it was pretty stupid. So let's go back up to Numbers Man. No, I did not get to watch. So yeah, moving on to Dr. Husel. We'll probably bounce back to things as you guys pop up questions. Um, it's done. Today, the defense rested. They had one witness, Dr. Zivit, which I know we talked about the motion in limine against him last week from the prosecutor. It sounds like they limited the testimony to him just talking about administering drugs, not when he spoke with Dr. Husel. He went yesterday and he went into today. And yeah, now it's done. Closing arguments start Monday. There is no trial tomorrow, but there hasn't been on Fridays throughout. But we are on day 24 of Dr. Husel. From what I did watch of Dr. Zivit is an anesthesiologist, just like Dr. Husel, unlike these other doctors who weren't. So it's actually nice, like I said, it's nice to see expert testimony that kind of goes towards what you're trying to prove or disprove. And in his case, he brought up an interesting thing. As an anesthesiologist, he studied a lot of different areas, and one of them was the death penalty, in particular lethal injection. And he had mentioned that because the companies that sell the drugs that are using lethal injections are now limiting, they don't sell to state governments anymore, that do the death penalty, states have had to come up with their own ways of doing it. And I guess one state tried to use fentanyl, an opiate, and they gave the guy like 5,000 micrograms, which is even more than Dr. Husel ever gave anybody. And unlike Dr. Husel's patients, usually a prisoner is in fairly okay shape. They're not dying, obviously. They're not dead. They're not dying. They're not terminal. But he said it took like 2 hours to kill the person, and the fentanyl really didn't do it. They had to induce death through some other administered drugs. And I thought that was interesting because that's an actual application of how you do this. Now, it is only a sample of one, but, Dr. Zivit, I think, was probably more qualified to say their death was caused by removing life support and whatever it was already killing them. The fentanyl did not speed it up. And numbers, if you saw what happened, you feel free, you can throw it in the chat if you actually saw what happened there. Yes, he was the only witness for the defense. Um, yeah, I think they proved it. I have a feeling that one or two of the other witnesses that the defense was going to use may have gotten squished in a motion in limine. I didn't see any rulings from the judge when I looked today, but I think they feel like they've proven their case, and I think they have. I mean, so many of these people were dead and or dying or just, just you could probably flick them and that would kill them. So I don't think he's guilty. And I don't even think it's a case of the state not being able to prove it. I just don't think he did it, period. He was doing palliative care. So so going back up, so I've not been able to watch any of this horse trainer trial. Seems like the judge is always correcting defense attorney. Defense attorney is experienced, so not sure what. Well, that's if the judge is correcting or on an attorney, it doesn't mean that they're they're experienced. They might just be trying to push the limits or break the rules or trying to skirt around a topic, and some attorneys do that more often than others. So without knowing for sure, I doubt it's like B. Ivory Lamar, who's just completely screwing up. Super cringy to be adult and still get into fights. Yeah, if you're gonna fight somebody, you better be prepared to go to prison for it. Yeah, that's a pretty long trial. Um, this one for Michael Moseley, this is a typical murder trial. It's like 2 to 3 days, and we have a verdict. There's not a question of who did it. It's just was there a valid reason for it. So this is pretty normal. Um, the Nicholas Cruz penalty phase may last more than 6 months. I can see that easily being the case. Remember, you've got a ton of victims. He killed I think 20 some people, but that doesn't include all the people who got wounded or who were there. I mean, all those people probably have a victim impact statement to deal with. You have to deal with Nicholas Cruz's mental conditions. I mean, he clearly has something going on, but I do think there is a video that's out there. Yeah, here, this one. I'm going to share it with you guys because if you want to see something, it's pretty good. This is a well done video. I've watched it before. It's called What Pretending to be crazy looks like by JCS Criminal Psychology. Um, if you have not seen this, this is a phenomenal example of, because it shows us at the beginning who really is crazy, but then it goes to Nicholas Cruz, who clearly isn't crazy. He faked it. He tried to do what he thought would count, and you can tell. So they'll be going through that. But yeah, I can easily see that taking a couple of months. It's going to be long. It's going to be drawn out. There's going to be a lot of arguments whether or not he gets a death penalty or just life without parole. Going to be a lot of so yeah, I think that's going to be yeah, it'll be interesting. Um, Uncivil Law was going over Laundrie's response to Petito last night. Oh, I didn't know they already filed a response. I'm kind of curious. Because I'm curious to see what it is. I'm sure. I wonder if they basically made the arguments I made of just woo woo woo, big mad, big sad, and told him to cry about it more. Oh, there's no actual. I'm trying to find a. Yeah, here we go. This might show it. I'm trying to find a website. Yeah, I just this whole notion that they filed a lawsuit, I think, is flat out ridiculous, and trying to punish people for using their constitutional rights is. I get that they aren't happy with it, but like I said before when I was talking about it, woo woo woo, big mad, big sad. I get it, cry about it, but that's where it should end. Um, where is this? I want to read it. I want to see it. I'm curious to know. Um, well, I'll try to find it later. Maybe I'll cover it myself. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm sure it's probably going to be that. Um, Mosley's going to need me to take on his appeal, especially since you reached out to Chandler. Well, hey, why not? I actually an appeal I wrote a couple months ago. I actually won today, so that guy's getting a new trial. I mean, it was for a misdemeanor, but still, a W is a W. So, you know, go tell Moseley, man, I get those dubs. Um, so yeah, I may have to look and see where he got that because I'm curious to read it. I don't know if I'll do a video, but I want to read it. Jose Baez is a very good defense attorney. I mean, dude delivers. He got Casey Anthony off, and he tore apart the prosecution during that case. So he's good. He's good at what he does. They did a very good job of attacking all the witnesses. I mean, even the family members, because they would admit, yeah, we talked to some doctors, and yeah, maybe I signed something I don't remember. I'm not sure. I mean, he came at them, but he came at them in a respectful way. But when it came to the detectives or the other doctors and administrators, yeah, I think he did a great job, brilliant job. And I think that's established doubt. Um, no, I'm in the middle of the Blandino appeal. Yeah. Jeez, that would be rough. Um, okay, yes. In Ohio, if you're brain dead, you are dead. Some states differ on what you consider dead in Ohio. Some states are different on what counts as death. But would you give fentanyl to a person who's brain dead? Otherwise, no, they're dead. You just bury them. Yeah, that is a. I assume a lot of the prosecution. It, your attorneys. We're not doctors. Um, getting into this higher end educational area of medicine is probably way out of her depth. Now, if she was a defense attorney or she was a civil litigator, medical malpractice, she would probably have a lot more medical knowledge and medical experience. She could probably come up with some good questions. I do think this is a very important thing, though. Their experts were probably asked to consult on these opinions that were delivered, and they probably weren't able to give them really any good ammunition. Why? Because they weren't anesthesiologists. Remember, these were the guys they found and thought were the best they could get. Obviously, I think Husel had better experts on his side. The facts were on his side too, but I think Dr. Zivit, we read through what he talked about, and then just read through that guy's CV. That was pretty impressive. So, that doesn't surprise me. I'll have to try to see if I can see clips of that, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. They kind of ran into a minefield. What was the basis for the new trial? Well, it's kind of procedural, but he had asked for... Uh-oh, who texted me? So the new trial, brain dead. Yeah, Friday we'll be covering that. I'm hoping that's on TV for, speaking of brain dead, yeah. The basis for the new trial, the guy had a public defender initially, and he said he wanted a jury trial. In Ohio, you are not guaranteed a jury trial for misdemeanor offenses. You have to ask for one. But you do have that right to ask for a jury trial. If you don't ask for it, there's a presumption it'll be a bench trial to the judge. Well, he had filed it. It was in writing. I guess a week later, he had hired an attorney and showed up with his attorney. Actually, I think months, maybe like a month or two later, I forget. Either way, the written demand for a jury trial had been filed. It had never been withdrawn. There's nothing on the record in any of the hearings that I got the transcriptions for saying that he withdrew his right to a jury trial. And in Ohio, if you withdraw it and you waive right to a jury trial, it has to be in writing. Ohio's got some pretty strong protections when it comes to that. You have to withdraw it. It's got to be waived in writing. He never did that. They had a bench trial. I don't know, from what I understand, talking with his trial attorney, he wasn't aware that the written jury demand had been filed. Either way, though, it was still out there and the court never disposed of it. So he got a new trial for that. It was an assault case. He assaulted somebody. There was a fight. I alleged some self-defense issues that if the court had denied the new trial issue, I think that would have been they would have found for me anyway. But violating his right to a trial is so critical, they didn't address any of the other points I raised. They said, we're immediately going to point number 4. We're skipping everything else. They're moot points. Because the court screwed up, he gets a new trial. So, I'll leave it at that because the guy still has a trial to get through at some point. So, yeah, I found out about the win this afternoon while I was going through emails after we were all done. So, I'll leave it alone for now because he still has to deal with it. Hi, Zulu. Thanks for stopping in. How did Casey Anthony find Baez? I'm not sure. I don't know, but she hit the lottery. In reality, she should have been acquitted. The state's case was awful, but that's a separate topic for a separate day. What else are we talking about tonight? Future cases. Well, yeah, Edgecombe's getting sentenced next week. We have other stuff coming up. I'm going to look at my schedule here. So, yeah, I kind of put it all up on my my normal calendar. I just put them up there. Oh, Dr. Zivit was pro bono? Wow. Okay. Um, those at times are important. Um, why is it important? Well, sometimes that shows they truly believe in the case, but it also can be seen if you could spin it the other way that they're a zealot and that makes them biased. But no, that's awesome that he's pro bono and he said he was opposed to euthanasia. Well, that's good. That helps. I didn't know all that. I didn't see that part of it, but that's interesting. I did not know that. Thank you for bringing that up. Oh yeah, Robin Baez. Okay, yes, Jose Baez. He's an attorney out of Florida. He's been admitted pro hoc vice to practice in Ohio. If those cases gone long enough, he could probably waive in to practice in Ohio. Um, so he did pretty good. And actually, I'm going to check real quick. Maybe he is in Ohio now. Because in Ohio, if you practice long enough, you can get in. Yeah, he's not an Ohio attorney, so he waived in. Hi Gummo, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Um, but yeah, that's yeah. Casey Anthony found him down in Florida. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how Husel came across him, but I think that was a great fit for him. I think that was a beautiful fit. Those guys are meshing really well. Um, so yeah, there's a couple cases coming up. Um, Marcus Wilson, he's the guy down in Georgia. He's a black guy. He's on the truck with his white girlfriend, and some people in the truck were following him and harassing him. There's some allegations the trucks ran into each other, and then he fired a couple of warning shots. One of those shots hit a girl in the other truck and killed her, so he got charged with murder for that. That's a trial that's starting on the 18th, which I'm surprised that is because that's Easter Monday, and I'm pretty sure courts are closed. But they're going to start it that day. I don't know how long that trial's going to run. We can try to cover that. I don't have anything super crazy that week, but I've got enough junk going on. I'll probably have to be popping in and out that week. That's the first big thing. Edgecombe gets sentenced next Friday. Yeah, those are the big things for me that I can really see coming up this month. There might be others, but for right now, that's it. Going into May, May's got a lot. Sarah Boone's trial starts the 16th of May. Also, the trial for the, I think I brought it up a while back, was the hazing death at Bowling Green State University. That's over in the western part of Ohio. I don't know if it's going to be televised. I may just. It sounds like you guys really want the suitcase murder, so we'll probably go with that one. I'll just probably cover that one, with a couple-day recap on the hazing case. That's a lot of the big stuff. Michael Mosley gets sentenced May 23rd. Oh, Billy Ray gets sentenced April, I think, 22nd, but he's already doing life, and he's 51, so he's pretty much going away forever. I don't really know how much worse it gets. Well, you guys are like flying here. The Bearstone shooting looks promising. Yeah, I mean, if you guys really want to get into it, we could do that. But I think tomorrow I'm taking the day off. I gotta get some work done. I kind of need to relax. um, it does take a little bit to do the practicing and also just kind of keep track of the trial once in a while. It is a little bit taxing, so I may just take tomorrow off, and if Critter and Matt and Gabby and whoever else want to play around on the stream, you guys probably can. But I just think tomorrow an off day, even God had to take a break once in a while. Um, hear about the woman in New York who pushed the old lady. Do you think she was overcharged? Are you talking about when the lady got shoved onto a train? Because I've heard about that. Um, oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I've seen this one. Um, I've seen this one now, and I think this is what you're talking about here. Let me know if this is what you're getting at, John. I'll use the New York Daily News just because. Yeah, this thing here. It didn't show it, though. I mean, where was the shove? I thought this was going to be the shove. Like, what the heck? I guess there's no shove. Or we'll just have to look for it real quick and see if it pops up somewhere in the rest of this. Oh, well, it looks like she shoved the woman in the pavement hard enough to, crack her melon open. So, but yeah, let's see here. Whacked her head when she got pushed. Apparently there's security camera footage, so I'm betting it looks proper. Let me see if I can show. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's showing, if they arrested her. I mean, you got to be careful. I mean, you want to shove people and screw around with them if they get in your way. Especially if you're shoving somebody who's old, you better be prepared. You're going to hurt them really bad. Yes. Thank you, Matthew. Heck of a guy. What kind of keyboard do I use? I'm using I don't know really if it's that cool or neat, but it is this Hermes E1C. I don't know. They gave it to me when I bought my desktop. They sent it to me and along with it for free, so I didn't order it. So I figured it's like a freebie. It's probably not the best in the world, but it's a little more gaming based. Like the keys are a little more, a little harder to push, but a little more rebound in them. So yeah, I'm not like a super hacker or anything. Hi Maisie. Yeah, Gummo. I'm not sure. This Troy Driver guy. I'm not sure you're talking about there. If you can mention what state it's in or something, we can look at it real quick if it's anything good. Oh, Eric Foams. No, not Billy Ray Cyrus. Billy Ray Turner. He shot Lorenzen Wright. It was in Memphis. It was actually last week. Yeah, my girlfriend and I were talking about it. This is a very interesting backstory. It's I mean, if what I understand about part of it's true, like somebody vindictively called Children's Services and they got shot for that. Like Chris Rock said, not that I condone it, but I do understand. I saw the dash cam of, I'm not sure what that is, but I don't know if she died. It sounds like she got really injured though. Uh, I'm not sure. We had to work some stuff out, but at some point, I'm not sure yet. Just stay tuned. Like I know for right now, he's out of town doing. I think he's doing like the You Are Here podcast. I think he might be doing another thing this weekend. I mean, I know he's supposed to show up there and deal with Ethan Ralph, but I know Ethan, Ralph backed out being a little girl, so I know some internet drama there. So I'm not sure what he's up to right now, but I'm going to be a little busy coming up myself. So I'm not sure when that day is going to be, but it'll sort itself out. The world works itself out usually. Oh shit, she died a few days later? Okay, well, then yeah, that sounds like a murder or manslaughter charge. We want the shove. Is that morbid? No, because I think you want to see what actually happened. Did she actually, like, shove her Did she just accidentally bump into her, or was it like an NHL like a defenseman throwing a hip check in center ice? You want to see what it is because that way you have an idea. Are the court, is this justice? Is this a proper charge? I mean, there's also let's be real. I think we're all a little bit, especially those of us here in the stream, we're a little bit kind of ghoulish and want to see the car crash and look at what happened as we drive by. I think there's a little bit of that in us. Oh, they haven't released it. I guarantee you they haven't. It's New York City. There's cameras everywhere, and it sounds like they have the footage, because they have the footage of the lady walking away. So if they know where she's walking away from, I assume they have video of her doing it. Watching Bronca cover some of it today. Well, so are you talking about Mosley, or are you talking about Barrisone, or the shove? I'm not sure. Uh, I have I have a gamer keyboard. Well, yeah, I play games, so it works out. Play a lot of squad, especially lately. Um, no, the women getting shoved in the subway. Geez, that stuff is scary. Uh, Especially like I was in New York. I was in Brooklyn at the beginning of December for my grandma's funeral. So good thing I didn't take the subway. And I will be probably going through New York City again at the end of May. So yeah, I guess I'll make sure I stay kind of back off the subway, or make sure there's nobody behind me. Not wireless, no. It came in the box with the computer for free, so I'm not gonna bitch about it. It works. Yeah, she was bonded out and they charged her with manslaughter. That sounds fair. I mean, why did you have to shove this lady? What was the excuse? What was the reason for it? I doubt she has a good reason. Wow, 23 people tonight. Guys, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done either. It is a crazy trial. The judge is awful. Um, uh, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll leave you guys to that one. I'll defer. I know it's been going for a little while. So Camo said he's charged with kidnapping, given a $750,000 bond. Yesterday they found the body. How long do they need until they need to recharge him? I don't think there's a ticking clock on that, but if the guy bonds out, I mean that's the fear. I'm assuming is if he bonds out on the 750K, he might be gone in the wind. So, but I assume there's going to be bondsmen who realize, oh, they found the body. They're probably going to charge him with murder. I'm not going to write this bond because he's going to skip out of town. So I would say time is of the essence, but they want to make sure they get it done right. So, I mean, they have a little bit of time. And if he hasn't bonded out yet, that's time they have to work on making sure things are set. Um, Lies and more lies. Uh, Not sure what about because I'm catching up. Yeah, he's gonna be out of town for a week anyway. But I mean, at some point in the future, I'm not saying like next week or anything like that. I gotta get back in touch with him about it. But at some point, she called her a bitch and then shoved her. Yeah, I mean that's still not a good excuse to shove somebody. Um, yeah, New York is well, I mean you put a couple million people together, stuff's bound to happen. Um, no comment. Oh, she had just finished fighting with her boyfriend? Oh. So she got all mad and just took it out on the first person she could. That's oof. I don't know. She's gonna have fun going to prison for that one. Imagine getting so mad at your boyfriend you end up going to prison for it. Bravo. Although in Michael Mosley's situation, imagine going to prison for the rest of your life because of some girl you met at the bar who wasn't even like your girlfriend, you were just macking on. And then she rejected you and you got upset. Bravo, Michael. Bravo. Um, um, okay, wow, I finally caught up. I was getting worried you guys were like starting to post like crazy and I couldn't catch up for a second. Um, yeah, so I'm just curious to know, let me see. Okay. I'm gonna try to look this Nevada thing up. Um, okay. Gummo, are you talking about Naomi Irion? I assume is what you're talking about here. Um, okay, Troy Driver. Oh, I feel like such an idiot. Uh, the guy's name is Troy Driver. I thought you meant like a guy from Troy who is a driver, and I'm like, that's not very helpful because I don't know where I'm looking. But I assume this is what you're getting at here. Um, oh, hold on. What did 4M say? Sorry. These people are nuts. Yeah. Oh, no, Banshee. There's a lot of people. That's a whole separate issue that people are getting shoved onto train tracks. Um, so yeah, okay. So this is it. This is okay. We'll read. We'll follow. We'll read this now. This might be an interesting one. She'd been missing for weeks. She was found in northern Nevada. Oh wow, she's been gone. She's been disappeared for a while. Okay. He was being held on a kidnapping charge for Troy Driver. He's being held on suspected kidnapping her. Oh, okay. Well, that's it. All right. Yeah. So, who knows if he can't make bond, he can't get out. Um, yeah. No woman is hot enough to risk your life for, especially if you're not married, or is the mother of your children, or something like that, or your mom, or your sister, or your grandma. Yes. There's no. Although, if you're mom, your sister, your grandma, and you're worried about him being hot, you know, maybe you can do that in West Virginia. I don't know, but at least not in Ohio. Yeah, you never get in cars with strangers, except now the strangers all have tracking devices, and it leaves a mountain of evidence about what happens. So it's a little different now. Um, but yeah, that'll be an interesting one to follow. I'm curious to know what this guy might come up with an argument for. Like, oh, she magically strangled herself and hacked herself into a million pieces, and then buried herself somewhere out in the desert. Maybe that's going to be his defense. I don't know. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you can get in a car with a person, but everybody, there's a million apps and everybody knows who you are and what car you got into. So trying to murder people through Uber is not going to be a good idea. Yep. Thinking with the wrong head, but also going back to what happened here in Nashville. I think a lot of guys were thinking with the wrong head. I think a lot of guys, a couple guys were looking to fight. So, um, Oh, my thoughts on Will Smith. Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit before. I get it. You don't like the fact people are making fun of your wife, but bro, you are the joke. I mean, the joke really. I mean, yeah, that was kind of a funny joke, but I think Ricky Gervais said it best. I would have made a joke about her boyfriend instead. Um, that's just. I think it's true. That's Will Smith has just been beaten down and destroyed. I mean, Jada's got her what red table talk on Facebook, and she basically said, "You cannot satisfy me as a man, and I have to go to find other people, including I think one of her boyfriends, is like their son's best friend or something like that." So yeah, I can imagine being cucked and henpecked like that would piss you off and make you hate your life, and then finally at some point somebody makes a joke, you start laughing, and you look over at your wife and she's not smiling, and then yeah, you go start beating Chris Rock because you can't go whoop her, even though she's kind of ruined your life and destroyed you as a human being. So, once again, it's very appropriate considering we're doing Chris Rock. It's not that I condone it, but I would understand if he did it. Now, him beating Chris Rock, that's a chicken shit move. The jester throughout history, I think I've mentioned this before, the jester has, the jester's privilege to make those jokes, to go there and push hard. You're supposed to deal with it. It's a joke. It's a joke, not a dick. You don't have to take it so hard. As I forget what comedian said once when somebody complained. No, I do think. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just an assault. Or depending on what state you live in, it's a battery. In California, it's called battery. In Ohio, that would be considered assault. Should the charges be filed? I think Chris Rock is being the bigger man. I give him credit for just letting it go. It says more about Will Smith than it says about Chris Rock. Yeah, you're a fucking adult. You gotta control yourself. You gotta control yourself. And Will Smith definitely couldn't do that. Oh, sorry, I was trying to catch up here. Oh, this is about New York City. Yeah, but you know what? The cops are gonna say you can't stop the cops from releasing information. They're gonna release it, and yeah, that's what happens. So, dudes don't fight over women at a bar. Yeah, yep, that's pretty true. Don't fight over women at a party. Um, Generally don't fight over women. Period. Remember, I think I mentioned this. It's the reason why the Trojan War started, and look what that did. It caused a lot of problems. You know what? Honestly though, I don't care if they take his Academy Award. It's all junk anyway. Oh, the movie stars and their group gave themselves an award. Like, oh well. He wants that trinket. Feels like it validates his career. I mean, cool. I mean, I don't really care if there's a movie and it's got 15 Academy Award winners in it or 65 Academy Award nominees. Oh well. I mean, nobody watches the Oscars anyway. I think they only had like 10 million people, if that, this year. Um, oh yeah, he definitely would have done that if it was somebody bigger. Like I said, there's a reason why he attacked Chris Rock. I think that for him psychologically, he could go whoop on somebody, and he can't go whoop on Jada because that would ruin his career and he would go to jail. But hey, he can go slap the shit out of Chris Rock and he's fine. Um, ah, the face. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's good. You win the internet tonight. You win the internet tonight. That's a good one. God, that's fucking brilliant. Wow. Wow. Say, I hope you give yourself a pat on the back. Because that was good. That was good. Oh. Maybe Chris Rock needs to lawyer up. I mean, to sue him, I mean, I get what you're saying, but he doesn't really need to lawyer up. Nothing's going to happen. And if you sued Will Smith, you're going to sue for, like, what? Humiliation in public? I don't really think it's harmed his career or reputation. There wasn't any physical injury that he sustained. I mean, you'd have to find out something to do it. And maybe you go to trial and you'd win. And the jury would say, yes, Will Smith was wrong, so you win an award of $1. Just to show, yes, it was wrong, but this is a pointless trial. I don't know if she is seeing, but she was. Hold on. I mean, if you guys didn't know this stuff, yeah, let's go down this road for a minute. On my gamer keyboard, I like to play the video games so much. Let me see here. Oh, there's gotta be... Trying not to find, like... Well, there's, like, nothing... Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna use any of these websites. But yes, the guy's name's August Alsina. She met this guy through her son. I think they're kind of like either acquaintances or they know each other. But yes, yeah, he's a young dude. Well, that was her entanglement. I think she's had a couple more since they've been like open. I know, Charles. I brought that on by referencing Troy. I appreciate that. I appreciate the wit like that. I mean, that was very well done. A cultured man who studies the classics. Yeah, I saw what he said about it, but yeah, that was what Will Smith did was pathetic. He shouldn't have done it. You there was no point in doing it. Yeah, yeah, she definitely got her back blown out by somebody her son knows, which 20 years younger than her. Will's life is a. I did not know this part. Um, Will's life is a tragic comedy. Yeah, I feel bad for him, but he's Will Smith. I mean, if he could take care of business, he could do it if he wanted to. But it could be worse. You could be like Robert De Niro, where your wife has all the money you've made through all the movies you've made, tons and tons of money. She's like spent it all. That's why he has to make kind of some of these. He's been making crappier movies that you wouldn't suspect him being involved in. But yeah, I mean, it can always be worse. But yeah, yeah, I feel bad for him. I hope he can get out of it, get out of that situation. It's not good for him. Um, yes, Matthew, I'm sure that was their major concern there. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much my theory at this point. That was why I think he went after Chris Rock. So I mean, yeah, it was a slap, but I mean, we could say if let's say he slapped him that hard that Chris Rock fell down and cracked his head on the microphone stand or something like that, and you know suffered a fractured skull, or let's just say Chris Rock had a that part of his skull was made out of like spongy bone, and he slapped him so hard that it killed him. Well, yeah, Will Smith be looking at a lot of problems because when you strike people, you kind of own the risk of what happens to them. Thankfully, none of that happened because I like Chris Rock. Uh, but yeah, that could have gone really bad. I mean, in a bunch of ways. He could have slapped him, fell off the stage. Who knows? Um, my friend feels bad for him too. He's old enough to know better. She's just making him look dumb. Yeah, she is, but I mean, we've probably all seen people in crappy relationships. That at some point, it's got to come down to that person getting out of there and leaving it, and realizing it's bad, knowing it's bad, and knowing that they're better off when they get out. Until he does that, there's nothing anybody can say or do there. 4:40 in the morning. Jeez. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it, GD. You have a great night. I appreciate the appreciate the I appreciate the watch. I know that's not easy to wake up in the middle of the night just to listen to some guy talk, but I appreciate it. That means a lot to me. I know you're probably actually the same time zone as Matthew. Dealing with it because it's probably about 4:40 there. Hold on here. It's like 3:40, I think, where Matthew is. You must be a little farther east in Europe, so yeah. Anyways, guys, an hour behind you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, wow, I kind of blew through everything so far. Uh, any other cases or things you guys want to talk about? I mean, we might stick around for a couple more minutes, but we might wrap it up a little early tonight, which won't be bad. I will say, I hope you guys have a great time on here. When I've been doing these, the past couple of these now, that there's a little bit of a rhythm to it, and your guys' participation makes the time fly by. Hmm. Oh, hold on, I gotta. Somebody just sent an email. No, it was just junk. Don't have to worry about it. Yeah, and I will just say to everybody out there, I appreciate all the subscribes. 808. Uh, I appreciate that a lot, you guys. I never thought I'd be this far along. So, thank you again, each one of you. Um, yeah, and honestly, guys, as far as things are concerned tomorrow, like I said, I'm definitely not doing anything tomorrow. I'm just gonna relax. I got some work to do and just not worry about this for the night or worry about it for the day. I'll talk to Critter and Matt and whoever else and see if they want to do anything. Oh, yeah, I feel 100%. I feel 100% right now. Yeah, just this morning I was just not. It was just not good. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel, but after a while it got a lot better. So I thought I was getting really sick, but yeah, it's good. Thank you for asking. But as I was saying, we might run another one, but we'll see. You have a nice night too. Um, I assume you mean weed because I'm not like when you say we is illegal or is legal. I'm pretty sure you can buy we here in America. I mean, do you really want to buy pee? I'm assuming you mean weed, not urine, but because you can't edit that, it's stuck now. Oh, okay, sure, sure. Nothing wrong with your having a fetish. I'm not here to kink shame. Um, Well, there's places in America where ladies of the night are legal. I mean, in Nevada, you can go to the Bunny Ranch and go do all that nasty stuff. And there's a lot of places you can smoke weed, and it's okay. Selling clean urine is okay. That's a separate thing. um, my fetish is sheep. Remember, hey, you can have more than one, and you can combine stuff. There's no rules that say you can't. Um, is Ohio a medical? We are a medical state. We are not recreational. If you do get caught with small amounts of marijuana, though, it's a minor misdemeanor, meaning you could face only a fine of up to $150. It's never any jail time. Same thing for possessing marijuana, paraphernalia. So a grinder, or, one hitter, a bowl, a bong. You can only face a minor misdemeanor for those. Now, if you get caught with like a meth pipe or some chore boy, which is like, the little thing you put on top so you don't suck the crack rock or meth in while you're heating it up, that's a higher level of misdemeanor. No, are they redoing Covington and Masvidal? That'll be a good fight. I like Covington. Dude's a good fighter. We'll see. Sounds like there might be some grumblings, though. Conor says he wants to fight again, it sounds like. When he was dealing with Bellator, I think it was last week or the week before, a couple weeks ago, when Bellator was doing their thing and they interviewed him. He says sounds like he wants to fight again. So it sounds like Conor wants to get back in the game. Obviously there's the issues with Cain Velasquez. He's not getting out of jail anytime soon. Chael Sonnen had that. I don't know what the hell that was. It sounds like he had a bad Ambien trip and started fighting people. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the UFC right now. So we shall see. But yeah, I like UFC. UFC is legalized cockfighting. I mean, we let two guys go into a caged area and beat each other senseless. And, they come out bleeding and torn apart. I mean, like I said, it's like watching a cockfight, which those are pretty brutal, but illegal. I'm pretty sure everywhere I'm pretty sure they're not legal anywhere in America. And I'm not saying I've ever seen one. Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, maybe I'll probably do a video on this, and I'll look it up and look for some information. Yeah, and it's one thing. It's if it's just some drunk bro, but Masvidal doing it, yeah, that dude could probably hurt, and yeah, no knives. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to watch it and see what happens, but yeah, I don't necessarily think there's nothing wrong with going to the police. Like, if it's a slap, I get, okay, going to the police is a bit much. But in this situation, maybe it was warranted. I'll have to see what it looked like and do a little looking into that. Fun fact, I may or may not know people who have been to cockfights. And I may or may not know people who bet on those. That has game roosters. Yeah, I mean, just because it's illegal doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Yeah. So, have I done bench trials? If yes, what trial do you prefer? I've done bench trials. I mean, I always feel a little better trying it to a jury. A jury just requires more work and effort. But, when it's a bench trial, there's only one person there. And if that one person thinks you did it, that's it. And that one person is a judge who, generally speaking, isn't swayed by your emotional arguments, or if I'm trying to, and I'll admit I've done this before, try to, use some bullshit and misdirection and try to, look over here instead of over there. Yeah, judges see right through that. So, no, sometimes that's bad. You want to be able to misdirect and shape a narrative that a jury will latch onto. There are undoubtedly times where you do want to judge, But generally speaking, a jury is the more preferred way to go. Just because you did doesn't mean you're guilty. Very true. But I don't know who did what, so I'm not going to comment on that. First time he met the guy, he told me he raised and fought game foul. Yeah, that's how I've heard it described as well. Game foul is the way I've heard it too. And it took me a second to like, oh, that's what you mean. But yes. Um, okay, yes, if you hire B. Ivory Lamar, you probably are guilty. And the judge will find you guilty, and so will the jury. Yeah, I should use this as a great tagline. Do you mind if I borrow this from you? This is a great one. Yes, generally speaking, unless you break it up, but you don't want to go in there while they're fighting. It's a good way to get hurt. I mean, sometimes they don't, but I mean, generally speaking, yeah, these roosters will tear each other apart. Sometimes they've got some. I've heard of like razor blades being attached at times. I mean, yeah, I've seen video of them. They tear each other apart. There is no kind of like dog fights, except dogs you can kind of break them up and keep them from dying. But for chickens, it doesn't take much to kill a chicken. Chickens are pretty frail animals to start with. I mean, you can pick one up and break its neck by twisting it, just like a pheasant. I mean, there's not a whole lot to them. Yeah, they put spurs on their feet. Yeah, spurs. They will put razor blades on. They do stuff like that, and then they'll tear each other apart even without all that. A pen full of pheasants, like if you go to a ranch and you're going to hunt cage raised pheasants, they have to put little like blinders in front of the pheasants so they don't peck at each other, because they start pecking at each other, they'll gang up and kill. They'll kill stragglers off one by one. Birds are nasty. They're dangerous. Oh, I don't disagree that it's cruel. It exists. Um, do you think the Edgecombe defense will bring up how he has ADD, so it wasn't his fault? They're not going to say it wasn't his fault, but they're going to try to mitigate it. They're probably going to talk about like, oh yeah, he had ADD. He probably had a shitty education. His upbringing maybe not have been the best. He suffered, from impulse issues. They might talk about him doing some drugs, different things like that. Um, Anything they can do to, they're going to have to mitigate. Do I think it's going to help at the end of the day? No, because they didn't bring it up. They didn't bring it up during their testimony, so it really doesn't help him too much. And they tried to church him up during his direct. It made it sound like he was pretty well educated and was kind of a snazzy, sharp guy. So I don't think it's really going to turn out the way they're hoping. I mean, he's going away. He's going to do a lot of time on this, and Borowski's probably going to give him the higher end of things. And as much as I don't, I try to generally not look, try to be decarceral, and we don't necessarily need to fill prisons. I mean, you kill somebody, that's kind of up there. You kind of have to pay off that debt. You should have to square that off at some point. So I don't know if 40 years is right, but I mean, he's going to do a lot of time. So, what law school did I attend? I attended the University of Toledo Law School in Toledo, Ohio. Definitely not Harvard, or Yale, or Columbia, or Michigan, or NYU, or Ohio State, or Berkeley, or really anywhere in the top good. You're not going to find them in the top wherever. You'll have to scroll a little down to find them. But yeah, I went to the University of Toledo in Toledo, Ohio. I didn't see that before, so I apologize. Even if they hadn't called him a racist before the trial starts, I think I think for them, they kind of got wrapped up in thinking this was like their Atticus Finch moment. This was like their trial of their careers and all that, when it clearly was just an average murder. So the grandstanding, they kind of wasted it here. But that may be a viable tactic down the road in another trial. What state do you live in, Charles? I'm curious, that making it less severe. Um, yes, Holy Toledo. Although, um, 25 years. Can you please repeat that? He get 35. Um, no, but you can't do that. It doesn't work like that. Although that would be hilarious if it could, at times. Uh, although I did have a trial once where I was standing there and we were waiting for the verdict, and they said not guilty, but I only heard the guilty part, and I was like, I almost like, and I was like thinking, oh God, I didn't actually hear the first part. Did they say guilty or not guilty? And I'm like starting to panic, and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I gotta come up with an answer quick because the judge is gonna start talking to me, and I better act like I know what happened. And I'm like, I can't be like, hey, can you repeat that? Because I'm gonna sound like an idiot if we lost, but I'm gonna sound like a dickhead if we won. So I'm starting to panic and looking around. I can't see everything. I look out the corner of my eye. My guy standing next to me, he's like smiling and he's like starting to cry and he's like really happy. And I'm like, and I kind of look over my shoulder and the rest of them are like smiling and hugging each other and his family. And his mom gives me a thumbs up and I'm like, oh, we won. Not guilty. But I didn't have to ask, can you repeat that? Oh, in Oklahoma? Jeez, you guys gotta like rodeos. That should be enough. I can't wait to have another trial with Borowski presiding. Honestly, in reality, you probably won't ever again. Um, I mean, just the way trials and murders and things happen in this country, you might not hear of him ever again unless you just watch things locally. But getting sort of national coverage might not ever happen again. And for Borowski, this is probably going to be far from the most memorable trial he's ever had or will have in the future. Oh, well, I'm glad you like. I appreciate that, Carter. I do. But like I said, I'm a schmucky attorney from Ohio. I'm not Johnny Cochran. I'm never gonna hope to be. Well, I mean, I hope I be as good as Johnny Cochran. I hope I'm like that at some point. But yeah, I'm just a dude who happened to went to law school. So I appreciate that. But just I'm person like somebody else. Uh, okay, that's pretty cool. Prison rodeo. Uh, that'd be interesting. Oh, Critter, are you asking about why we won't have Borowski again? But that said, though, it sounds like they cover stuff in Milwaukee pretty frequently. It's a fairly big media outlet. If we find there's trials or something he's involved in, sure, we can cover it. I don't think it's going to be on par with, oh my gosh, people all over YouTube are covering the trial, or people all over the country are talking about it, or know the name of the case. That's really all I meant. Um, oh, Borowski might go and leave the bench and go into politics. I'm curious to see how his bedside manner is as a politician. You can't have the same kind as when you're the judge. That's a bit of a culture shock for some people. When you're the judge, you can act how you want. A little different when you're running for office in another situation. But if he does, good luck to him. After Borowski hated having cameras in court. Oh, Borowski said he hated having cameras in court. He may not allow them again. That's true. Some judges don't. Some judges feel like it turns everything into a circus, and they don't like it. And it just, maybe he feels that Lamar was kind of preening and showing off for the cameras, which I think in a way he was probably trying to help himself nationally with presence. Why not? It's free advertising. I mean, that was how many 40, 50, 60 hours of free advertising, and now there's people all over the country, including schmucky attorneys on YouTube, screaming into the void that are saying his name, and that goes on forever. So I can see him not wanting them, but I think there's going to be a push more and more, and I think it should be. Trials are going to be televised. And if they're not televised, you should be able to type in, you know, if you're in Minnesota, like the Ottertail County, which there really is a place called Ottertail County, courts, and you should be able to click on that court and say, hey, what's going on in the municipal court today? And you should be able to watch it and see what's going on. Just click in, it's a live stream. I should say, hey, I heard, in Common Pleas Court, something's going on. Click in, there's a live stream. Hey, there's a jaywalking trial. Oh, sweet, I can watch that right away. I think that there should be that open access to the courts. Now, there's some things like probate court and juvenile court and family court I understand wanting to keep private, but otherwise, like appeals courts, you should be able to go on, find an appeals court somewhere, and go, hey, what's going to happen with Kim Blandino's appeal? Are they arguing about it? You type it in, click on it, and boom, you should be able to watch it. I think that's probably far off. That might be towards, I'm 36. I bet that's probably another 20, 30 years down the road before that really starts going. But I don't think judges necessarily should be able to keep cameras out, but I think they should be more of like court-based cameras so they really can control how things are done. Yeah, and that's interesting. Borowski, well, actually, it doesn't surprise me he had a lot of trials during COVID, but a lot of courts didn't. A lot of places basically shut down and did everything through Zoom. But I'm curious to see what Borowski did. I'd be curious to see his other trials. Yeah, he's, okay, hold on. I want to send him vouchers for the court canteen. Well, I mean, if you do that, at least if he tries to hold you in contempt, you're in another country, so it can't really hurt you unless you come to America and your passport gets flagged. He was trying to show off. Yeah, he's working in that. I mean, he's like a younger version of Ben Crump. And you know what? I can talk all the shit about him I want and say that he sucks, but, Jacob Blake got like $20-30 million. He gets like 30% of that, so joke's on me. He made all that money, so fuck, I wish I had that kind of money. I just need to, find some people getting shot by the cops, which, I guess I don't want that to happen, so maybe I'll never get it. But yeah, I can say, I'll talk all the shit I want about him. He's got a couple mil in his pocket, so, there you go. Federal courts need to allow cameras, and yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, though. I've said the joke before, and you'll hear other attorneys say it. The difference between God and a federal judge is that, God doesn't think he's a federal judge. So I don't think the federal courts are ever going to allow it. I think the Supreme Court allowing some audio streaming is a big step. I don't know if they're going to allow that to keep going live streaming it. I know some of the circuit courts, I think there have been some experimentation, but I don't know. It'd be nice if it would, because you could type in, hey, what's going on the Fifth Circuit today? I think that would be really cool, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Oh, I think so. I think everything should be available for people to watch. People should be able to see it. I think having that access demystifies it. It actually helps educate people. People would actually have a say and be able to see what's going on in the process. Oh, okay, yeah. I'd be curious to see how he handled stuff in Zoom. So. That would be pretty cool to see, a prison rodeo. I'm not going to lie. That'd be kind of neat. It's open to the public. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool to see. I mean, I bet it's just like a regular rodeo, but I mean, I think rodeos are neat anyway. They're pretty neat to go watch, bull riding. I mean, I generally root for the cows, though, because, I mean, why not? They're, I hope they win. I mean, yeah, because, canceled because of COVID. Yeah, because they're going to get COVID riding the bull, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, you get thrown off the bull and paralyzed, but at least you're wearing the mask. B. Ivory still can't pay for a good ad on his website. I don't know. I think we looked at his website the one time we were. I if you well Parallax, you probably weren't around at that time, but during his trial, I think I looked at his website and I'm like, you know what? People make their websites according to their taste and style. My personal website for myself as an attorney, I put it together. How I thought it looked good and what looks nice and what looks proper. But other people might see it and say, "Oh my God, it looks like garbage." That's more of a personal choice, I think, at the end of the day. So, once again, he's made a couple mil already. So, I don't know if that's an actual joke, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a joke somewhere along those lines. I shouldn't say too much because I'm going to start practicing federal court coming up. It would be cool to see a prison rodeo. I was root for the cows. Me too. I mean, why not? It's more fun when they win. Does Ohio have strict laws when it comes to painkillers after surgeries? Um, I mean, like, I had knee surgery back in July last year, and they gave me a good number of Percocets. I only used like two or three of them for the next day. Then after that, I kind of was able to walk, hobble around on my immobilizer. I think that's what you mean, but that's more of a not necessarily state law, but the DEA is also cracking down on doctors giving you like, oh, you just had surgery, like here's the Kirkland's Costco sized bottle of Percocets. So I mean, everywhere it's been pretty much trimmed down. So I assume that's what you're getting at, John. Rodeos are okay, but give me a good demo derby. Yes, demo derbies are so cool. Um, it's actually fun. The county I grew up in, they actually have a combine demolition derby. That's really neat to watch, especially when the guys put the corn head on, with all the teeth on it, and they start chasing each other around trying to knock out their rear steering. Those are pretty neat to watch. Those guys flip a lot. So, but yeah, a good demo derby is fun. Good demo derby going to a well. It's actually getting to the point where it's almost racing season again. So going out to there's a out where I'm at. There's a really good short track, dirt track that's out. Actually, it's about 45 minutes east over on the state line. It's called Raceway 7. They do a lot of outlaws. They do the short track cars, pro stock stuff. It's really neat to watch. Go out there and like 10 minutes from where I live, there's a nice paved oval. They do racing quite a bit. Like to go watch that stuff too. And also, I'm actually lucky enough to be, within an hour from Norwalk Raceway, the drag strip. So, I haven't been there in a long time, but it's always a good time to go there. Uh, yeah, prison derby won't ever happen. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a little risky. That'd be a little risky. Okay, well, yeah, guys, it's 11 o'clock here, so I'm gonna pack it in. It's been a nice night. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Remember, if you're new, please like, subscribe. I appreciate it. And yeah, we do this every Thursday night. There's You said you're gonna start practicing stuff for all you want time for us. Oh, I'll have time for you guys. I'll have time for you guys. Um, we'll just have to play it by ear and see how things go. But we've got, there's always things to work on. Maybe I won't be doing as much trials every day, but I'll still be doing this. I'll still be putting out videos. So, one way or another, you'll get your fill of me. You'll get sick of listening to me at some point. um, oh no, I got a lot more than 7 painkillers. I got probably like a week and a half's worth when I got done. Yeah, thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it, and you guys all have a great night tonight. So, until next Thursday or what we start up with, and yeah, tomorrow, you guys might just be Just don't burn down the store if we have a stream. So have a good night, everybody.